Welcome to Answering the Call, the official podcast of the 12-Man Foundation. Our show brings you closer to the heart of Texas A&M athletics through stories of perseverance, purpose, and opportunity made possible by 12-Man Foundation donors. Hear firsthand from the student athletes, coaches, staff, and donors who are driving the success and future of Aggie athletics. Let's dive into today's episode. Howdy, and welcome back to another episode of Answering the Call, the official podcast of the 12-Man Foundation. I'm your host, Ivy Robinson, and today we're pulling back the curtain a bit on Texas A&M football. And, many experience Aggie football on Saturdays at Kyle Field from a fan perspective, but there's an entire team working behind the scenes to help student athletes succeed both on and off the field. And joining us today is one of those individuals, Texas A&M football's coordinator of player development, Matt Salvaggio. Matt, welcome to Answering the Call.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm usually the guy that's bringing the players here, and now I'm in the actual room itself. So it's an honor to be here. It feels great.
I feel like it's a full circle moment because when we launched this podcast in 2024, I remember specifically you bringing football student athletes, making sure they got to the podcast studio on time, and I think you even set in on one.
I feel like they did a pretty good job of getting here. I feel like the fun part was always like getting the guy here. He didn't know where to go most of the time, so making sure they just kind of knew where to go at that point. And then it got to the regulars that would come in here and they're like, I know where to go. So I'm like, all right, cool. Ivy and them got you. So I let them take care of it.
Yeah, so you've been a part of this podcast literally since its inception, like since it began. So what perfect guest to have on the show today. Now, Matt, when someone asks you what you do for Texas A&M football, what do you tell them? How do you explain it? And what is your response?
So I usually give them two responses. One, I give them like the just quick one, which is, I do everything. I tell everybody like in the players' words, they say big bro. So big bro, or now since I've gotten older and my birthday just passed, they say unk now. So I kind of just tell them I'm everywhere and anywhere. I do the smallest of things to the biggest of things. If it's a guy needing a ride, if his car won't start, or if it's getting them involved with alumni networking, like literally it stretches all across the board. And I mean, my day's never the same. There's never a back-to-back day where I'm like, okay, I did the same thing as I did yesterday. That never happens. Just making sure these guys understand that they got a resource in me because not only did I go here, but I've been born and raised here. So I know everything about this town. It can be a question of like, what's my best place to get pasta from, chicken tenders, or anything like that, pizza. Like literally, we have the conversations every day of just anything outside of ball. They can ask me anything. And I just want them to have that sense of comfort to where, yes, I am a part of the staff here. And like, you look at me as coordinator, player development, all that good stuff. But I want them to understand that I met them first as a recruit. And I want them to know that that relationship's never going to change just because I've gotten older and they've gotten older, or they've become big time player or not, whatever their status is on the team. I'm going to treat them the same and they're going to treat me the same. So
it really does sound like you are able to be a great resource for them, right? And helping them truly integrate and feel at home within Aggie football. And I think that's an awesome role to have. It's funny, you said that your day to day varies quite drastically. One day does not look the same for you, correct?
Absolutely not.
And one of my questions that leads great into that was, if you were shadowed for a day, what do you think would surprise that individual the most about your job and your role and what you do?
I think the thing that would surprise the person the most would probably be the smallest of details that go into like a day in the life of these student athletes. Most people, they automatically just think of the Saturdays, the game days and stuff. But like if you come in like right now and you see what we're doing behind the scenes, we got lifts and they got meetings and they got, well, not necessarily meetings, but more so just like summer school stuff and just the little small things that most people don't see on a daily basis. They got their rehabs and their treatments and just literally the list goes on. So I think the smallest details, like for example, we have Mission 12 programming. So that's our player development program that me, John Battle, Darius Dunaway, and Kate Rosenberg put together. And we just kind of go through a checklist of things with the guys like financial literacy, alumni networking, just getting them familiar with just the school and everything that it has to offer, and just making sure that they develop not only on the field, but off the field as well. So I think that would be the biggest thing, is like there's more to it than just football. There's a lot of small things, and it's a lot of stuff in a whole day that would really catch people's attention of like, wow, there's really a lot that goes on behind the scenes at Texas A&M. So
it sounds like you really are providing that bridge and connection between, their life as a football student athlete, but then also connecting them back to this university and helping them develop professionally as an individual too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your story, I feel like, is kind of different from most people in college athletics because it all
Absolutely.
started long before you actually had a job. So just tell us where you're from and what your upbringing was like in this area.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised here in Bryan, College Station, Bryan, Texas, to be exact. I grew up in a family that lived and breathed Texas A&M football. My dad, class of '72, he brainwashed me at a young age to live and breathe A&M, and everything that I've done up until this point has literally been around this campus. He told me growing up that there was two schools I could go to, and that was A&M or Sunday school. And I think I made a pretty good decision on which one I ended up going with. But yeah, I mean, our Saturdays were pretty simple. You know, we wake up and A&M was playing. So we either went to the game, we watched it at home, and our whole mood for the week was dictated on a win or a loss. So that's always kind of been my MO for 26 years now, and that has not changed. I mean, it's been great. I mean, I grew up loving A&M, so getting the opportunity to help shape the next generation of Aggies has been something that I don't take for granted, because I like to tell myself whenever I need a little pick-me-up, I tell myself that 5-year-old me would be ecstatic of what he's doing right now. So that's kind of how I look at it, and just a little background on that. So
Were you always interested in sports?
always. I've always been interested in sports. I was actually, so I don't know if I got to find the picture. My mom has a picture of when I was 5 years old. I went to my first A&M game. Well, actually, it was my second game, A&M versus Oklahoma State in 2005. And there's a picture of Pistol Pete on the sideline doing his little like plastic gun celebration. And there's a little kid in the background praying on his hands and knees. I'm the little kid. So yeah, that should tell you I was diehard since 5 years old.
Okay, now I know a small part of your story involves graphic design and kind of some content creation. So tell us about that and how that passion and those skills kind of led you to an opportunity with Texas A&M football.
I really started following, like, to be exact, I started following recruiting in 2016. That was like the first real year I started following it, because I started kind of picking up on, okay, like this team's good because they got this player. This team's going to be good because they're about to get this player. Like I started keeping up with the future of programs basically. And I saw one kid post on Twitter a graphic of like his top 5 schools. And I was like, that's a really cool graphic. I want to try to make that one day. So obviously it wasn't as good as what I saw, but I tried it and I downloaded a few apps, and trust me, it was not pretty at the beginning, but we made it work. I started doing sports edits. For those that know, back in the day, 979 Sports Edits with a Z was the OG sports editing page that a lot of people followed, and it really kind of got my foot in the door of how I got here today. Started making content for recruits from my junior year of high school to the end of my senior year. So basically a 2-year span of making graphics for guys. Like if it was a top 10 edit, a top 5 edit, commitment edit, whatever it was, I was probably the one making it at the time, and just continued to network and build connections.
I have a little graphic design experience and I'm in the content creation world with my role at the 12 Man Foundation. But what's the difference between, you said, a top 10 edit, top 5 edit, a commit edit?
No, that's a great question.
That.
So, for example, like when a recruit goes through the recruiting process, he obviously cuts his list of schools down to a top 10. So he posts like his top 10 favorite schools, and I'll make a graphic of like, it'll be like him in the middle, and then it'll have like this school on the left, this school on the right, and just a list of the top 10. And then he cuts it down from 10 to 5. So then it'll be like, okay, these 5 schools are out. Now it's these 5. So it'll be a top 5. And then he cuts it down to hopefully a commitment, which means like you get a commitment graphic of the school he chooses. So
visually, how do those compare though?
You put a lot more effort into the commitment graphic for sure. And I mean, that's usually how it is, because that's a really big deal, big milestone. And I think just everything started taking off for me, especially like in terms of my graphic design work, end of my junior year going into my senior year. That's kind of when I started
so
really...
did the account like blow up?
Yeah, it kind of blew up. I had a lot of big time followers. I started getting players across the country. Like at first I started off locally, and then it got regionally, and then, statewide. But then I started getting guys from Florida, California, and like just all across the country.
And were they reaching out to you, asking you to create their graphics for social?
Yeah, and it was awesome, because I would make the content, and to this day, people still didn't know like it was me behind the Twitter page. The only people that knew it was me and a couple of my close friends and my mom and my dad. So that was really cool, kind of like keeping that incognito, I guess, and just people being like, dang, who's this guy that's making all this content for these guys? And nobody really knew who it was except for myself. So kind of seeing like the fans go crazy, and like coaches reaching out to me like, who are you? And I'm just like, I'm just a 17-year-old, 18-year-old high school kid from Bryan, Texas, just doing what I love. And, it started turning into a real passion, because it made me realize I can really do something with this. So that was really cool.
Yeah. And did you ever consider I mean, it sounds like it just kind of fell in your lap, like you weren't really looking for a career in content creation, but it
No,
just kind of like something caught your eye. You're like,
yep.
hey, I want to try that. And you're open to exploring that possibility and that open door, and how neat that it led you to where you are today. So let's dive into that portion of when the opportunity to join Texas A&M came about through 979 Sports Edits.
Yeah. So it's funny that the whole story had multiple twists and turns is what I tell people. So end of my junior year, so that's the end of 2017 football season. So obviously at the time I had drawn interest from A&M under the Sumlin regime, and I knew a lot of the support staff then, and then obviously they had a coaching change. So, and I was still in high school, so I was going to be like a volunteer doing stuff outside of the program type of work. So I wasn't going to be doing a whole lot, but I still had interest from them. I ended up just continuing to keep my head down and working through high school. And then once that coaching change happened and Coach Fisher's tenure came, just started building relationships with those coaches and that support staff. And then I realized, I just got to keep following people, and just hopefully one day one of them is going to follow me back and I can explain my story of this is what I do and this is what I want to do. And then sure enough, one day, I still remember the kid that I made the graphic for. I made a graphic for a receiver out of Arizona, Jake Smith. He was a top 5 receiver in the nation coming out of high school, and he posted a top 2 edit that I made of him. I want to say it was USC. I'm not sure. It was USC and somebody, but it was a top 2 graphic, and I had a lot of coaches hit me up about it because Jake was big time. He wasn't committed yet, and everybody wanted to know where he was going. And the next thing I know, I got coaches from USC following me, Washington, Penn State, A&M, everywhere. And then one day I get a message from Coach Tim Brewster on Twitter, and he's just like, hey, man, what's up? How are you? It was the most out of the blue message, and I was just like, this is my chance. This is it right here. So I texted him, started texting him back and forth about what I'm doing and what I want to do. And then next thing I know, I start talking to Coach Santucci at the time, Coach Price. That was my guy. I love that guy. We'll always have love for the Price family. And then even Coach Elko. Coach Elko was one of the first guys that actually reached out to me too on Twitter. And it's funny because he reached out to me on Twitter, and I was like,
was this when he was defensive coordinator?
Yes. So he was the defensive coordinator at the time. And I remember he reached out and he just said, what's up? And asked if I've talked to Coach Santucci and these other guys. And I was like, yeah, I've talked to them. And Mark Robinson as well at the time. He reached out to me, and just I got so much love from those guys, and they tried to figure out a way to, help me get involved with their program once I graduated high school. And it made me feel so much reassurance because it showed that they cared, and they did a great job of making sure that I felt like I was wanted, basically. And then I graduate high school. I come in here 2018, and I start working as a student worker, and I just loved doing what I was doing at the time with graphic design and photography. And then it kind of took a change there for a little bit because one day one of the assistant coaches came up to me, and he was just like, hey, you do a great job with graphics and photography, but I think you'd be pretty good in recruiting. You do a great job of talking to people and just being a people person.
A relationship builder.
Yeah, relationship builder. So obviously I started doing that a little bit, and then next thing I know, I'm helping out with everybody. I'm doing media, I'm doing photography, I'm helping out on recruiting weekends. I'm just all over the place. So I wasn't complaining though. I was loving what I was doing. I was learning. I was building a lot of relationships with people that are now at many different programs across the nation, and it's even helping me today. So, and just getting to that point where I graduated in December of 23, and that tenure changed as well. So now we were going through a coaching change again, and I was like, oh, okay, but it's a little different this time because I'm graduated from college, and now I got to figure out what I want to do. And just kind of following that whole coaching search and just trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do and who was going to be the next man up here. And it's crazy how it all comes back around full circle again because Coach Elko got the job. And I felt good. I was like, me and Coach Elko had a great relationship even when he was a DC here. So I felt good, but I still had to put my best foot forward. I had to go catch up with him and find a way to basically talk to him in the whole chaos of a new hire. He's got to do all these press conferences and these transitional hires and bringing people with him and all that stuff. So, but I saw him at the press conference the day he got introduced as the head coach in the Hall of Champions, and he saw me in the hallway and he goes, damn, you're still here? And I said, yeah, I'm still here. They haven't gotten rid of me yet. So that was really cool to he still remembered who I was. We still had a great camaraderie and everything. So he said he wanted to meet one day, and we met, we talked, and basically the rest is history. And he kept me on, and now I've been here on his staff for the last 3 years or so, and it's been great and just loving every second.
What a journey. I mean, truly remarkable how all of that just came about and how one thing led to another. And I think it's so neat how like just the power of social media, what that can do for you.
It's
You know, it can
insane.
open doors and connect you to people that you wouldn't have been able to connect with otherwise, right? Like it's truly powerful in the doors and opportunities that it can provide. And props to you too for like looking for those opportunities, right? And seeing it as a tool and as a way to get your foot in the door. Now tell me about, okay, so you said you worked as a student worker for Aggie Football when you were working on your degree at Texas A&M. You earned a degree in sport management, correct?
Yes,
from Texas
correct.
A&M. It was December of 2023.
Yes.
Did that degree kind of solidify your desire to continue working in sports?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a little bit away from like the A&M football side of things, when I was in school, I really got close with all of my professors in the sport management program. So there's a lot of them that I could name. I could name every single one of them, but a couple of them that like stood out to me the most was Dr. Heike. Still talk to him quite a bit on a daily basis. His class piqued my interest because he showed on the first day, you know, you have syllabus week and it's like get to know your professor. His slide, it showed he was, I think it was either CEO or chairman for Fox Sports Southwest, or he was like something really involved with them. And that caught my eye because I knew what Fox Sports Southwest was. And I was like, that's really dope. So just kind of started asking him questions. And then he started picking my brain about what I wanted to do. And then I got introduced to Dr. Zimmer. Dr. Zimmer is one of my favorite professors of all time as well. I could keep calling everybody my favorite because honestly, all of the sport management professors were great. I enjoyed my time with them, but they really solidified what I wanted to do. And when I realized seeing them doing what they did, and it connected to a lot of what I wanted to do, that really just solidified that not only did I make the right choice for sport management, but I made the right choice of, all right, I'm going to carry what I learned with them into Texas A&M and Texas A&M football as well. So
Now, I want to know, what's your favorite part about your job and your day-to-day responsibilities?
seeing a guy that you built a relationship with, you know, prior to when he got here, it's like throughout the recruiting process, and then he gets here and you not only you helping him with onboarding stuff, but you're helping him with move-in and you're helping him with, you know, orientation stuff, and like kind of just seeing him grow throughout the years. And then all of a sudden 3 years go by and boom, he's doing his thing on the field and he's just growing as a man, as a brother, a son, and just seeing him, you know, develop. Like literally, I mean, it's right there. Like the word develop is right there. Like that's the biggest thing for me, is seeing all that happen right before my eyes. And like time really does fly when you're having fun, because I've gone through so many of these recruiting classes and guys coming in and out of the program through the portal, but seeing everybody grow and just have their whole life in front of them and kind of seeing them live it out here at Texas A&M and just being a part of it has been like, that's probably the funnest part in my opinion. The second one, I think I've been doing a lot of community service work and alumni networking with these guys. So kind of seeing them do their thing off the field with, you know, the kids at the local schools, and when we go to the retirement homes and we do stuff around like with city events, like a city hall and all that good stuff. So kind of seeing them just grow and evolve out of their shell outside of the locker room, but just like with the community and the people that support them on Saturdays, and just seeing them just become who they really are. You know, everybody wants to point at football players, helmet, pads, ball, but like I get to see the guy that likes to play the guitar, loves to play the video game, or
There's a human and a soul underneath all of that.
It's just cool to see all that unfold and just kind of being a part of that and helping them find that other, you know, piece of themselves, I guess, while they're here, and just letting them kind of live their best life is what I like to say. So
I'm sure that's super rewarding. You mentioned alumni networking in that response, and that leads great into one of my questions I had for you. But one of the main goals of Answering the Call, this show, is to reveal to listeners how donor support impacts Aggie athletics. And I'm sure your role probably gives you a unique perspective to that, kind of like what you're touching on right now. So can you share maybe how you've seen donor support in terms of scholarships, capital funding for facilities, these facilities that our student athletes, football players get to utilize, and then even NIL opportunities? How have you seen those resources impact the lives of Aggie football student athletes specifically?
I think it speaks for itself in the question. Like, it creates opportunities that a lot of these guys may have not had growing up. And when they get here, they're kind of like, it's one thing for us to explain it to them and sell it to them as a recruiting pitch. But then when they actually come and see that, it opens their eyes to a whole nother element that is Texas A&M. And they realize, holy cow, like this place is really, really special. And not just with like donor support, but like the whole alumni network itself as well. It creates opportunity, but it also builds relationships that will last a lifetime if they build them the right way. So like, for example, with the 12th Man Foundation, like we go to these events at other sports, and I challenge these guys at these events, you know, go ask questions, go introduce yourself, find something that you have in common with these people, because they're living examples of y'all. Some of them are former athletes, former players, former students, and so forth. And they love to just get to know you and everything that you stand for. And I'm sure that they would love to get a chance to, like how I said earlier, finding out what's more than just a football player. They want to find out more about you and just kind of what that resource that they're given is going to, like their investment in you basically is what I'm trying to say. When people invest in Texas A&M football, they're investing in young men and helping create experiences that will impact their whole life. And I think people like the 12th Man Foundation and our alumni, they do a great job of making sure those guys see that. And my job is just to make sure that they understand the bigger picture of it. It's more than just them going to a meet and greet. It's more than them going to a donor dinner or a foundation dinner or anything like that they have to go to. I just want to make sure they understand that there's a purpose behind everything and that if they do it the right way, it can really set them up for life.
Have you ever witnessed a player have a light bulb moment? Maybe there's probably a better term for that, but just have you ever seen one of them truly recognize what they've been given through the generosity of Aggies?
Absolutely. Like, for example, some of these freshmen that have gotten here, I will say, like, this group of guys that we have right now, I'm not just talking about the freshmen, like our whole team in general, like they've done a great job of really embracing, the network that is the Aggie network and everything that comes with it. But especially our freshmen, like when they first started going to their events, they took it on like champs and they did a great job of asking questions and just getting more familiar with just people outside of here. Because like when you first get here as a freshman, you got the onboarding process, you got orientation, you got class and all that. So like they're only familiar with the people that are in Bright and the people that are here in Sin. And then when they get a chance to see the people that are, involved with why they have what they have, it kind of, like you said, a light bulb goes off and they go, holy cow, like there's way more to this place than just football and school and all that. So kind of seeing those guys have that moment, especially like these young guys, it makes me feel good about 2-3 years from now. They're going to be even more invested in it and they're going to understand the full meaning of what it means to be an Aggie and what this network can do for them and just everything about the donor support and how it's second to none in the nation.
That is so true. Second to none, truly the best way is to describe it. What would you want every 12th Man Foundation donor and season ticket holder to know about the impact they're making? Because many listen to the show, many might be listening right now, but from your perspective, Matt, being on the inside of the program, what would you want to say to them?
The donation and support that they give will always make an impact, and it makes a big impact to where these guys have a better opportunity than they had before, obviously, but a lot of these guys come from every different aspect of life. So when they get here and they see, everything that they have in terms of facilities and just infrastructure from the Sin building to the Bright complex, all of that, like that goes such a long way. And they're always talking about it. Even today, like the freshmen, they've done a great job with these events as well. Like they network, they've taken it on like a champ, and I'm excited to see how they do for the next 2 or 3 years in terms of just getting more familiar with, our donor support and our alumni network and just everything that comes with it. This place is growing and y'all are a main reason on why that is happening. And me personally, I've known about this for 26 years now, how great this place can be and how great the donor support is and everything that comes with it. But seeing these guys have that light bulb moment, like you said, and just seeing that this place is truly special and it can really set them up for life if they do it the right way.
I want to circle back to Coach Elko. And we've talked a lot about the evolution of Texas A&M athletics, Texas A&M football. Lots of changes over the past 10, 15 years with this program. And you've been here, witnessed that in the latter half. Talk about, Coach Elko, he's big on accountability and grit, we know that, and relationships. How have you seen his culture really flourish? And how have you seen it just bring life to this program and really set it on a path to success?
Yeah, I think the two biggest things that stand out to me about Coach Elko, and it's the two words I tell everybody that I talk to about him, is authentic and consistent. Every time I talk to him, I always feel like it's never the same conversation. We talk about everything from the baseball game the other night to, hey, you watching the World Cup, or like, how's your mom doing? How's your dad doing? Just little small things like that. Like he genuinely cares about us, and not just like his players, but he cares about his staff and he cares about everybody in the building. And I mean, that speaks for itself. He's a family man. We gotten to know Miss Michelle really well, got to know the kids as well in the Elko family. So that's been great. Just understanding that he has an expectation for everybody and he has a standard, not just for the team, but for his staff. And he does a great job of creating an environment where everyone knows the standard, and he also just genuinely cares about us. So everybody in that building, we know that, we come into work and we actually love and enjoy what we're doing and we love who we work for. And he's done a great job of just getting that message across. And I think same thing with the players. They'll say the same thing as well. Like, they love that he's real. He's going to tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And that's exactly what you need nowadays in terms of guys understanding their role and guys understanding what it's going to take to get where we want to be. And Elko's got us going in the right direction. And I knew that when he was a DC here. And, I'm just glad he's back and I'm glad he's rocking and rolling. And we got some good things coming and just ready for it to all roll again.
Absolutely. And, kind of tying in your role specifically, how do you think player development fits into his overall vision for the football program?
Yeah, so Coach Elko's a really big advocate for community service. He's really big on our guys getting out there and not just showing face in the community, but just getting involved. And for example, like when we go see the kids at the elementary school, like you were once those kids in their shoes. So kind of like understanding that you have an image, but you also have the capability to make an impact on a kid that you never know might be going through something. So the thing about Coach Elko is he wants to make sure these guys are putting their best foot forward for not only the program, but for the name that they have and the name that we have as a program as well. So just making sure that they're all getting involved and just growing and just trying to get out of their comfort zone a little bit has always been great. And we actually we surpassed 700 hours of community service as a program this semester. So
is that like the highest?
Has to be. I mean, it's
our
definitely
record or for the program yet.
It's definitely up there. I'm not sure where it stands in terms of records, but 700 hours in a semester as a team is pretty. Yeah,
I feel like that's got to rank up there, especially comparing to maybe even other programs across the country.
And we've done many different things. Like I talked about, we go to the after school program here in town. We do stuff at the retirement home. We've been involved with the Salvation Army. We would do holiday stuff with them if it was like Easter egg hunts, and then we'd also just do stuff around town, like at City Hall. We do stuff even here at the facility with our student athlete engagement team as well. So like we've just got all kinds of different ways that we can get these guys involved. And like I said before, Coach Elko is a big advocate of it, and we try to push that narrative and that message, and these guys have done a great job.
Tell us what fans can get excited about for the upcoming 2026 football season. What can you tell us?
So one small thing is, we have something coming up at the end of July, our celebrity softball game, where we get a chance to get our guys out in front of the community. Free admission at Davis Diamond on Wednesday, July 29th. Gates will open at 5. Event starts at 6. We'll have all kinds of little, giveaways and activities going on there. So like just a little small build up leading up to camp and then the season, of course. So, if your family's in town or if you want to come out and just show some support to the guys and have a good time, we'll be out there. So definitely pull up. But I think my message to the fans would probably be just, we have a great group of guys. They're easy to root for, especially once you get to know them and you kind of see what they stand for. Like you'll be proud of the guys that are on the field representing not only you, but this great university and everything that comes with it. So I'm just more excited to see these guys go to work, and I'm ready to just see them. They've been busting their tail all off season. That Moffitt method's no joke. So just ready to see them show everything that they've been putting in behind the scenes and just to put it on full display for you guys.
And looking back, you mentioned this earlier, but if you could talk to that high school kid making recruit edits in Bryan, what would you tell him?
I would, this is funny. I would tell him, so my page actually got hacked at the end of my junior year. So I would tell that kid, he was actually about to stop doing graphics. I would tell him, thank God you created that Twitter account again. That's how simple I would keep it. But in the whole grand scheme of things, I would tell him, hey, networking is very, very important, and you've done a great job. And hey, 5-year-old you, high school you lived and breathed this place, and you're living your dream. And that's all I can say.
What are you most excited about for the future of Aggie football?
I'm just excited about the whole direction itself. I mean, I know that's a cliche answer to say direction, but, when you got a guy like Coach Elko leading the way for us and just kind of making sure that this place is always going to be where it should have been from the get-go. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's got a great support staff. He's got a great set of coaches. And just, the fan base, like, we're going to do everything we can for y'all. This place is meant to win games. It's meant to win championships. And trust me, it's going to get there, and we just got to keep on doing what we've been doing, and it takes everybody, and I know this place can definitely get there. So,
and why are you specifically proud to be an Aggie?
I'm proud to be an Aggie because it's something that I've stood for since a very young age, and just being a part of not just a group of people, but a family that started growing on me even when I was literally 5 years old. I keep saying 5 years old, but this place has made an impact on me. It's always been home, and just being able to say, that I not only graduated from here, I'm from here, I work here. It's like I'm living the dream. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just being able to say that I did it, I'm doing it, and I'm still doing it. So that's kind of the biggest thing for me.
Matt Salvaggio at Answering the Call podcast. Matt, thank you again for taking some time to chat with us today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I'll gig 'em.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Answering the Call. If you're enjoying the show, please rate and follow us on your podcast streaming platform of choice so you can be the first to know when a new episode drops. As always, a big thank you to our incredible podcast producer, Megan Rohde, to 12th Man Productions, and Texas A&M Athletics NIL Department. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to every donor and season ticket holder for always answering the call through loyal support of Texas A&M Athletics and our student athletes. We will be back soon with more content. Thanks and gig 'em.